I'm going live again. It's like a disease. No, just kidding. I was getting ready to do a couple of things and then I thought, you know what? We were talking about some of these this week and last week. So I made some soy milk, and what I'm going to do is make some of it into yogurt, make some of it into vanilla ice cream, and talk y'all through it. So hopefully that works well. So the first thing that I want you to know is, hey, say hello. Let me know how you're doing. It's hot. One of the reasons I went ahead and went live now is so you could see the pretty view out into like my little kitchen herb garden. But it's getting hot and the door has got to close. So anyhow, yay, Mona's here. It's awesome. I love you being here. So that counts for a lot. And you guys, I gave you like 5 minutes notice about this, but you know, sometimes things happen. Also, what I did is I have some soybeans soaking that I soaked this morning, and I'm like, I want to go ahead and make a batch of soy milk and make some yogurt. I also went ahead and made some dosa batter, so sometime over the weekend I'm going to show you how I spread out a dosa, which is pretty simple. Yay! Hey Susan, where are you in North Carolina? And Liz is here. Awesome. Liz and Susan and Lydia. Lydia, it seems like forever since I've seen you, but it hasn't been. Okay, so one of the things, so I made it in the Miomat. So I used about a half a cup of soybeans to about 6 cups of milk. Usually when I make soy milk, if I'm buying like one of those, oh, no, okay, it didn't mess everything up. Like a little shelf-stable package, and that's about 4 cups. And that's what I use, and this is Cultures for Health. Let me let you guys see this, right? So this is the vegan yogurt starter, and it's a little out of date. So this may or may not work, but let's find out together, shall we? And so basically you can see a little bit of information, and yes, that does say 2021. So again, if it doesn't work, it's not its fault, it's my fault. And hey, Apple, you were so lovely yesterday and sent me just the most wonderful note. I think that, yeah, that was yesterday. It's a blur, people. No, it was Wednesday. You sent me the most wonderful note Wednesday. We went to the dentist in the morning and the doctor in the afternoon, so yesterday kind of just didn't exist at all. Oh, and Susan's in Lewisburg, North Carolina. I'm in Durham, North Carolina. Will the recipe be in the notes? I'm making most of this up now. There is a Instant Pot yogurt recipe on plantbasedinstantpot.com that you can use right now. And it's going to tell you kind of the same things, and I'll talk a little bit about that too. But yeah, what I'm trying to do, but I'm so behind, is I'm trying to do some new stuff here and then get the recipes up, but I have a backlog. So you can get all kinds of vegan yogurt cultures, and that just means it wasn't made on milk, which is fine. And you can also get different brands, but you could use a tablespoon or 2 of your own homemade yogurt or store-bought. In the past, I found that Nancy's vegan yogurt had just like, it's like culturific. There's so many cultures in there. It makes a great starter. And I used it throughout the Outrageous Oat book. So, aw, thank you, Lisa. Lisa thinks my hair looks cute. I have not even done anything with it today. So, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad you're able to join a live too. Oh, you're so awesome. Apple says, welcome to Kitchen Wizardry with Kathy. I like that. Apple, I probably need you to say it, and that would be even more. I've never heard your voice. I'm just assuming it is as gorgeous and beautiful as you are. Though at least I'm not as scratchy as I was voice-wise a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so it tells you kind of on these things. You can't, like I said, this one's a couple years old, but I think they still have it on Amazon, and I will possibly even double check sometime now, or I will look after this. So you get 4 packets, and you can use some of, after you make yogurt with this, you could use some of the yogurt to make yogurt, but at a certain point, you lose the return. And you can just kind of say, well, that didn't do so good, and then you can add another one, or you can decide every other batch or every 3 batches and see how it works for you. Additive-free soy milk. It's saying there's some substitutes. Now, you can make yogurt with coconut milk and full-fat coconut milk. And it is delicious and delightful. And I'm not telling you how to do that because most of you are oil-free. Now, my friend has an almond yogurt recipe that I'm going to ask her if I can do live on a video and give you the link to her recipe. So hopefully we'll be doing that soon. And it's saying you'll need a yogurt maker or a similar appliance that will hold at 108 to 110 Fahrenheit. And then it tells you the things that I can't pronounce, all the good little cultures that are in here. And so we're going to do this experiment, and I thought it would be fun. It was Best by 1/2021. So this may not work at all. And if it doesn't, I'll drink it like kefir, even if it does just a little bit. So, oh, you can't find the Nancy's yogurt anymore. They have it haphazardly here in North Carolina. When I was like, and this happens every time I do a book, every time I have one really good product recommendation, they stop having it. But they had a soy yogurt that was crazy good. It was very tangy from it being so well fermented. I really loved it as a savory addition. Okay, and Liz says she has ordered the vegan yogurt culture from Amazon recently. So we're going to start off. So I'm doing that because I made this soy milk. What I've been doing lately, and I haven't shown you, is I've been using the Okara when I make soy milk to make a Ninja Creamy pint. So we're going to do that first. And I've got some vanilla, I've got some vanilla powder, and I'll let you see this. Now, some people were saying they were finding vanilla powder with sugar in it. This one doesn't have it, and there's others that don't as well. But what could happen, and make sure you read the ingredients when you look at something on Amazon, because if it has sugar in it, just look for a different one. Right? Don't just knee-jerk go, that's what I want. Always look at the ingredients. If it doesn't have the ingredients, I usually on Amazon scroll down to the questions and see if that got answered there too. So that can be really, really helpful to make sure that you're not putting something in here you don't want to put in. The whole reason Chef AJ likes to use vanilla powder over vanilla extract is because of alcohols and things like that. Okay, now let me see if I've got. Mona, we're kindred spirits. Those are suggested dates in my opinion. I know, and see, here's the thing. So when you buy this stuff, it's not refrigerated. I have had it in the refrigerator for a very, very long time. So I'm hoping that that helped preserve it, because it says store in a cool, dry place, refrigerate for long-term storage. And I'm thinking long-term storage is a year or 2. Okay, so this is just my regular Ninja Creamy pint. This could be a deluxe pint. This could be the new whatever pint. And yes, I do have a new creamy, the latest creamy, version 3. Why do they do this to me, people? Why? How many Instant Pot versions do we need? How many Ninja Creamies do we need? You, my friends, need 1. And all of them seem to be fine. So let me show you this actually. Oh, I'm just bathing my Okara a little bit. This has been sitting here for a little while. I know Lisa loves her creamy, and Lisa's actually the one who sent me the link to the third creamy, and I was like, who photoshopped that? No, it's real. It's real, just in case you wondered. Okay, all right, so all I did was, again, in here, in my little Mio mat, I put 6 cups of water, and I put half a cup of soybeans that weren't soaked this time. You can do it either way. And I find you get less Okara. So that's probably a 1/4 cup. Usually I get about a half a cup of Okara. And I've been just like putting it right in the pint. Yes, just like that. Okay, let me move these jars out of the way so you can kind of pay attention to what's going on here. All right. So and it doesn't matter if it's a 1/4 cup, if it's half a cup, if it's a whole cup. And then I have some date paste, and I'm probably gonna need something to measure to tell you see what I do when I make my Ninja Creamy recipes is I just throw stuff in there. For good or for bad, right? It doesn't matter. Okay, so we'll start with half a cup of date paste. So this is gonna be, because the date paste is gonna be flavor forward, it's gonna taste a little bit like caramel vanilla. Okay, so then, okay, I'll measure this too. Feeling the pressure. I'm gonna put a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And if you don't want to imbibe alcohol, this one, most vanilla beans extract have alcohol. This one does. Sometimes you can find them with glycerin. And then sometimes you can just find non-alcoholic ones, but that's another reason to use vanilla beans. Now, let me let you see these up close. This seems to be the best once it focuses. There you go. So sometimes vanilla powder isn't just vanilla caviar. And you're like, what? We are not talking about the fishes, no. So when you open up a whole vanilla bean, all that yumminess inside is called vanilla caviar. You could just scrape half a vanilla bean out. Now, vanilla beans right now are quite expensive, but you can take a lot of that caviar out, then soak the seeds, the stem part cut up in like some bourbon, therefore bourbon vanilla, something like that to kind of help the price. Or you could dehydrate the whole vanilla bean and you can make vanilla powder with it too. Maybe we'll do that sometime. I hate to experiment with vanilla beans. So they're expensive and they're precious. I think they're precious. So I'm going to put I want this to be extra vanilla. So I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla powder in there. What if you didn't have both? You could do a half a teaspoon of this. You could do a little extra of the other vanilla. Either way, it's going to be okay. All right, now I'm going to have about 2 cups extra milk in here than I usually do. So, also, let me see if there's a piece. Is there some yuba in here, or did it get soaked up? No, the yuba's gotten soaked up. I'm just going to stir this up a little bit. The one thing that you need to know, and why I weighed it, so this is cool to the touch. When we make soy milk, either on the stove or in our milk makers, it gets very hot. It cooks it. So just like if you had half a container of soy milk in the fridge, you need to sterilize it before you make yogurt. So that means you need to bring it up to a temperature to kill anything, then bring it back down. Because if it's too high, it'll kill the yogurt bacteria. So I know we're going back and forth, so this is cool. It's been sitting here. That's why I stirred it up a little bit. I'm going to come about 3/4 of the way full, like about here. The reason I'm doing that is in case I want more date paste. I want to give myself a little room. And I'm just taking a whisk because everything's already puree. And it's okay if this vanilla powder clumps, because when the Ninja Creamy comes around, it will straighten all that business right out. Okay, and I've got, oh, you guys can see on the sides, I wasn't seeing that I have some date caramel on the bottom, and it looks more like Oreo cookie, but I swear it's not. Okay, I'm going to taste it. Oh, it's pretty delightful. And I would indeed like it to be a little bit sweeter. So I'm going to add a little bit more date paste up to the line. And one thing to remember is when we freeze this mixture, it's not going to taste quite as sweet. And also make sure, how are you guys labeling your pints? Because what I've kind of gotten to where I'm doing more, so I tried the wet erase markers and I like them in the winter. In the summer, they just melt right off from the condensation, from the heat and living in a humid place. So see, and that's my pint. And I'll taste it again. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to taste pretty much exactly like vanilla caramel. So I'm going to put this on. Let's go ahead. And another thing, someone asked me about these too, are these freezer labels, and they're really pretty nice. I don't think I have a pen here though. So we're going to pretend that I wrote date vanilla soy on there. Then I'll freeze it and we'll spin it tomorrow probably when we come and look at the yogurt. So I'm looking for a towel. The reason I did that first is I just wanted to get some of the soy milk out of the container. And let me see if there's any questions. What's the brand of vanilla powder? Slow Food Group. It's SLO Food Group LLC. Here, I'll see if we can. Now, I think I got this in one of the Nourish boxes. I'm pretty sure. So, I haven't tried to buy it separately. I know Chef AJ has one she really likes as well. Oh, really? Okara and the creamy, you're blowing my mind. And the thing is because it gets so creamy, and the Okara from the Miomat is really quite fine already. So another thing that I've been doing with it before we go to the yogurt is when I cook the soybeans and I have a good 1/2 cup of Okara, I just add some nutritional yeast, maybe 1/8 teaspoon of lactic acid, some salt or salt substitute, a little nutritional yeast, and some garlic powder, and you could put herbs in there, and I use it as ricotta. So I mixed it up with my tempeh bolognese the other night, and it was just so delicious, and it's very nutrient dense. So what some people don't like about making soy milk or nut milks is that it's not a whole food because you are removing the fiber parts. But I like to think of it the same way as taking off the mushroom stems and dehydrating them and making my own mushroom powder. It's just stuff you're getting for free. And Okara is beautiful. Okara, if you never had it, just put it in mashed potatoes. No one's gonna know. It doesn't taste any different, but you've added some fiber and protein. Magic, it's magic. And Liz says, I'm gonna try that today. And Apple said, I'm not labeling. The only reason I have to label, like if we saw this, you'd be like, that's chocolate. And I'm always doing, whenever I use more date paste than something else, the colors all end up looking the same. Oh, really? Over at the Slow Food? Mona, tell me more. Slow Food Group, Madagascar vanilla powder. So evidently I need to go look there, and I trust Mona on this. Okay, and you guys who just have come on, so say hi, tell me where you are, tell me what the weather's like. Tell me if you have a Ninja Creamy and if you've ever made yogurt. And we're going to make it in our Instant Pot. Going all the way back, plant-based-instantpot.com has a recipe for both soy milk yogurt using like, what am I trying to say? The shelf-stable soy with just soybeans and water works best. You can also use like higher protein milk, so like Ripple is what I use to begin with, and then Silk had something with pea protein in it. And the reason it's going to set up over, if you get store-bought almond milk, not going to work. But I'm looking into a way to do it with almonds. Oh, great prices. We like great prices. We'll see about that. Yay, Boston's in sunny Boston, yay. Oh my gosh, I made yogurt the first time this morning and dumped the soy pulp. I should have researched more. It's okay. We all make mistakes. So I haven't always kept my soy pulp Okara, but what I do a lot of the times, if I'm doing a class and I need to make a lot of it, I'll just toss it in the freezer. So you could have a big jar or something, and you just keep adding to it and pull it out when you want it. You can also dehydrate it and use it as soy flour, just like any other leftover milk thing, like almond. If you make almond milk, make almond flour with the pulp. Okay, so this is like a big build-up for really the least interesting thing you may ever see me do. So, oh, and it's hard to see here. Let's see. Can we see it here a little bit better? Yeah. All right, so I've got my little packet of vegan yogurt culture. Now we want to make sure everything's pretty sterilized. And I'm saying, as this doesn't have a little thing, I'm going to get my kitchen scissors, which are scissors that are always kept clean enough that you can eat off of them. Okay. And if you didn't have yogurt culture, but you had some yogurt, what this would be is a tablespoon or two, depending on the yogurt. You'll have to experiment. You can also use probiotic capsules. And if I knew where mine were right now, I would put it in there, but I don't. So I'm just literally kind of sprinkling this around. It's, I don't know, it's about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of starter, and you don't really see it on here. Then you just take a nice clean whisk and you whisk it. The most important thing to remember is everything needs to be clean. If you've made homemade soy milk, it needs to not be hot anymore. So just like you would check a baby bottle, like, right, isn't it? You touch it and you put some on the inside of your wrist, I think it is. Or you could be a grown-up and use a thermometer. I'm not growing up anytime soon. I did use a thermometer when I'm doing like serious experimentation, but I'm using yogurt culture that expired 2021. Who knows what's going to happen? So it could be tomorrow. I'm just showing you how I'm making some more yogurt if this doesn't work. And then I'll try it with my probiotic capsule. So you just mix it in really well as you can. So when we're using the Instant Pot, what you want to do, and this seems silly, this is not going to fit in here. Make sure you have jars that you can close the lid with. Okay, the other thing, notice there is no water, no anything at the bottom of this, right? And that's perfectly fine. And let's see if these 4 will be enough. And so you don't have to have an Instant Pot to make this. You want to make sure your jars are nice and sterilized. And let me see if I have any questions too. Nope. Okay. You don't have to put lids on these either. Doing it in jars, you could do it in the very bottom of the pot, of the Instant pot, but I do find it tends to get thicker when they have to crowd together in something. Let's do a little bit more in here. They do not have to be even. This is just my neurosis talking. You could cover them, but it doesn't matter. Also, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that was 4 tall. So I think those might be 1.5 pints, but I am not positive, the jars. Okay. So then I'm just gonna put my Instant Pot lid on here. And what I mean is it doesn't matter if this is released or not. In the winter, I make sure it's sealed because then it just gives it a little extra way to hold in that heat, because I keep the house like freezer. And Cheryl's always telling me I'm going to kill the animals. And I'm like, the animals are fine. It is 56 degrees. So that's why I do that. And I can't wait to be a much older person when supposedly I'm going to be cold all the time. Because I'm down for it. I've got sweaters, everything. But now my least favorite season, the hot one, the one that you can't control very well, is upon us. So for now, it wouldn't matter which way you do it. Okay. Oop, here we go. All right, let's see if I can do this here. I'm watching the screen trying to do this. Okay. Yogurt. Is it not gonna? Oh. I never canceled it off of me making dosa batter. That was my fault. Okay, so I'm gonna press the yogurt. And I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can sort of see very lightly over here the two things. It says ferment. Here, I can't see it. I was hoping to show them to you. Maybe you can see it a little bit from here, but probably not. It says pasteurize or ferment. Pasteurize means I'm going to boil that milk for you and make it safe. Ours is good. If you get it out of a sealed container, like a West Soy or a Trader Joe's, it is also fine. So we just want to make sure that we're picking, and I'm on, the Duo Evo Plus. If you're on some rate, and then I'm going to press start. So I got ferment, and it's going to go for about 8 hours. And no, we won't know anything at all until tomorrow. It's very exciting. So worst case scenario, nothing happens. Maybe I'll just go ahead and pour it into some oat milk or something. I'm going to taste it and make sure it's still okay, because it wouldn't be fermented, so therefore it would have just been soy milk that sat out all night. Oh, Lydia says, I'm 60 and I'm either too cold or too hot. I know. I hear this mysterious time of when you will be too cold, and I got really excited and bought some really, really snuggly clothes for winter. Oh, I like this. How much capsule would I use? I used 1 capsule, and I think it was 60 billion-ish. It may actually say on the recipe on plantbasedinstantpot.com. And Apple says, I'm cold all the time since menopause and love it. It's always a crisp autumn day in my world. I'm so jealous. Yep, I've gone over that hump. Yeah, and it used to be that I would get kind of seasonal affective disorder in the winters. And once we moved here, because you see the window out here, like, that's nothing compared to what's over there. There's like another window like that there, and there's 2 sliding doors and a triple window, and then we have clear story windows up. So, and lots of pine trees and things like that. So there's always green around. So I don't get that kind of like, And But with the heat, I start feeling trapped inside. And that's one of the reasons why we have our spin bike downstairs, which is cool because it's actually kind of insulated. It's half underground. So hopefully that'll work. And Mona says, I'm 67 and loving the heat. And I love what Apple has to say about that is you're a zesty tamale, Mona. I'm going to use that for sure. Liz Lena says, I will be 70 this summer and the too cold is just starting after 20 years of being too hot. That still gives me hope. Okay, so now it went ahead, it preheated, so it went up to that small step of a fermentation temperature, and it's going to go for 8 hours and 30 minutes. I have found, depending on what I use, a starter versus a yogurt to culture this versus a probiotic capsule. The probiotics, I like to stop at 7.5 to 8 hours, or it got, the longer it goes, the funkier it's going to get, the tangier. So if you like it super tangy, keep going. But at some point, it will get too tangy. If this doesn't go, or if it's weak, I might just culture it a few more hours and see. If it looks like it's done something, then we'll keep going and we can kind of keep pushing that along. But really, that's it. We've got a pint of caramel vanilla soy ice cream with Okara to go in the freezer. And then we have some soy yogurt. And this is the first time that I'm trying to make soy yogurt with homemade, and I'm using expired culture. So I feel like maybe I'm a little bit of a spicy tamale today. So anyhow, I hope you guys have just the most amazing weekend. Don't be scared of the yogurt. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. It's okay to experiment with things and have them go well or not. I do a lot of pints that seriously I just throw stuff in. I've got some flavors, and one thing that I am working on is trying to figure out, I have a Lorraine oil that's princess flavor. So it's not whole food plant-based because those have lots of different additives in them, but it tastes like magic, you guys. And so it's like almond and vanilla and citrus. So I'm going to try and deconstruct that and make something that's more of a whole food plant-based date sweetened pint with that, because it is now my favorite ice cream. It's a lot like wedding cake was my favorite snowball. Oh, that's a great question. Okay. I don't know what that question is for, but Mona's saying, do I use distilled water for the milk? No, I do use filtered water. So we have well water, and then we have, Cheryl, what's the light downstairs? We have a UV light downstairs that could kill any bacteria. We have a what kind of filter? And a big whole house filter downstairs. Then by the kitchen, and one of the reasons that I have classes, like you can see that measuring cup is by a little thing. That's our reverse osmosis. So it goes through a lot of filtering. So that's what I use. I would just use the cleanest water that you can. If you're on city water, you're probably already using, what is it, a Berkey or a Pure or Brita or something like that, and that should be fine too. If you're concerned that something weird might be in your water, you could boil it and let it cool down too. Apple, I hope you have an amazing weekend too. And you guys just brighten up my whole week. And Lydia says, have a great day. So I will come on at some point tomorrow. I don't know when. And I will probably at least spin this ice cream so we can take a look at it and see how the texture is, how I need to fix it. We will also look at the yogurt or milk, depending on what happens overnight. And starting soon, I'm going to do some more deluxe Ninja Creamy videos. And if you guys have a Ninja Creamy Deluxe, could you email me at kathyhester@gmail.com and tell me what it is you would like me to do and demo? Because most of it's still the same. I already on YouTube, I have a video doing the cremicino, doing a slushie, talking about how you can do half pints. And I don't know when the 3rd edition of the Ninja Creamy, and each Ninja Creamy has completely different pints. So, and at this point you can't get extra deluxe ones. And I have 20 regular pints, so we will be doing some in the regular too. But if there's certain specific things you have questions about, even the regular Ninja Creamy, let me know. Oh, thank you, Betsy. That's so sweet of you. I appreciate you very, very much. And Mona says it brightened her day too. Yeah, Mona, you should be able to use the water from your fridge. Your water has a filter. I mean, your fridge has a filter that filters the water. As long as you're changing them regularly, it should be fine. And if it's something that you're drinking, then you already know if it's okay pretty much. And Diana Warner says, I've been making soy yogurt from store-bought soy milk for years and have wanted to make my own soy milk, but heard conflicting reports on whether it will work or not. Well, we're gonna find out. And if it doesn't work this time, part of it could be because I'm using expired culture and I've got soybeans soaking, so I can start another batch. And if I can't find the culture, I'll just use probiotics or I will get some other yogurt. So we'll do a couple experiments. And I will not rest until I know we can do it. Sound good? Have an amazing weekend. I'm gonna go hang out with Cheryl for a little bit and start ours. If you have some questions, as always, please let me know. Have an amazing day. Be kind to yourself. And if you can, if you got just that little dribble extra, just smile or do something nice for someone else if you can. Even pet a puppy. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow.